Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the 8th of March. We've got Chris Bertopoulos here in the studio sharing some of his insights, some of it already very helpful. We've got one more segment with Chris, and we're going to talk spring Chinook. Now, it being the 8th, like I just pointed out, it's early season. Should you get excited? No. Should you go fishing? Yeah. You got time? Go. For crying out loud, you can't catch a fish in March if you don't go in March. I mean, that's a simple way to put it in my little brain.
Sitting on the couch.
No. So you have choices, right? Water temperatures are very cold, and there's a lot of theories about water temperature that have been blown out of the water over the last handful of years. Now, we got a new bait to talk about, which is the cut plug from Yakima. It doesn't necessarily need to be specifically this bait. It could be any of the stuffer baits or whatever it is, 360 baits. But the theory has always been bait, cold water, early season. Switch it up when you get into the 50s, and again, everybody's got those their own take on that. But what are your thoughts on that? Is this something that you're going to put on a rod with your clients this month, or are you going to wait until water temperatures start to climb?
Well, I'm going to have plenty of them tied up, and I'm going to run herring to start with. But I'm going to put one on my rod, and I've been pleasantly surprised before with a spinfish or a Brad's or what have you that maybe one day that's what they want.
Sure.
So I've got a couple more ready to throw on another rod if they show us that that's what they want. So, but I'm gonna start with herring all the way around except for my rod. And if they start working really good, maybe I'll put another one on another rod.
Sure.
And
so I would assume, and assumptions kids generally are bad, but I'm going to make an assumption that is something you're going to start out with herring, and you're going to keep them on the bottom. You're going to run one of these on your rod. Are you going to run it the same way? Are you going to have it behind what they were designed for, a 360? Or are you going to have it behind an inline?
I'm going to have it behind an inline to start with until the water warms up. I'm not going 360 until we get that water temperature. That'll probably be on the Willamette by that time, because the Columbia season will close. But you know, once you get that water up closer to 50 degrees, that's when the 360s seem to shine. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and listen, everybody's got a different opinion on. There's been fish caught first week of well, I don't even want to say it, but even earlier than that with 360s for spring Chinook, January. Lots of different theories there, but I think it's a very safe. Especially for a professional. Herring on the bottom behind a fish flash is pretty much, you can't argue with that.
When it's cold.
Yeah, you just can't argue with it. Those fish want to be on the bottom. They are literally pressing their fins on the bottom, depending on current. They're right and tight. So, okay, I wanted to get your perspective on that. Now, let's just keep on that same track. It's going to be the end of March, right? You're going to start out in the lower river. You're going to be chasing springers, herring on the bottom. Do you have theories on scent in that cold water with your herring? Do you change anything, or you just cut them and let them go? Do you like?
Well, I cut them and let them go, but I've always tried to change my bait frequently. You know, every 30 to 40 minutes, you better be putting a new bait on and checking them to make sure that they're clean. There's not a blade of grass on there, hampering the action, or that it doesn't get blown out. You know, some people are into fresh cut baits. Some people are into brine baits.
That was my next question.
And you know, my opinion early in the season is the brine bait puts out more scent for a longer period of time. It holds up better. But whichever way you decide to go, fresh cut or thawed, let's put it that way, and cut, or brined, just, you know, check your baits frequently and change them frequently. Don't fish a bait for 4 hours. You know, it's
Bill.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go there. You know who you are. You'll be here tomorrow, but we'll announce that later on. Brining, though, you mentioned it. That's always a big topic. We're going to pull that tech tip out here probably in the next week or two, talking about brining herring specifically. Do you do anything that might be different than others? Are you using pre-made brine? Are you doing your own thing when you're brining up your herring? What do you like?
My brine is it's no big secret. I use either the Procure or the Mike's liquid brines, but I throw some stuff in there too. And
that's where the secret stuff is.
Yeah, I almost always use the clear, or I like the Natural Shine. Procure is a very good one. It makes your bait a real nice color. It has a little tiny bit of bluing in there, but you don't end up with really a blue bait. You end up with a shiny bluish tinge to your bait. And you can add color to that also. You could put some more bluing in there to get more of an electric blue color. Or you could go with the all clear and add some chartreuse. And those are pretty much the two colors I use, either chartreuse or, if the water's murky, that chartreuse can work pretty good.
Yeah, you're leading me right down my list of questions that I have in my mind. Colors. You mentioned that you do use different color baits. Is there something that makes you decide? And he kind of alluded to this, I guess, that makes you decide if you're going to use blue or the chartreuse. I mean, really, those are the two dyes that people use. There are other colors, the badass bait dyes from Procure, reds and pinks and different colors, but for salmon fishing in general, it's blue or chartreuse. Is there a time when you like them?
Yeah, well, watercolor really dictates if I'm going to be using color or a certain color or not.
Gotcha.
Some years we have pretty colored, murky water, and if that's the case, I'm going to be using some chartreuse. I'll at least always have some chartreuse in the boat with me, and I may have two different colors or one color and just one plain. Have enough to play with and find what they want. If the water's running nice and green and clear, I think a standard silver, natural colored bait works pretty darn good. Or that's when blue might tend to work a little bit better, I think, in the clearer water. Whereas, but you could fish a blue bait in, or a plain natural bait in murky water and catch fish, or you could catch fish on chartreuse in the clearest water you ever seen.
Sure.
So, at times something always works.
Sure. Better off just smacking them right in the face. I mean, that's really, if you want to just eliminate the issues, just, pay attention to electronics and keep your gear where the fish are supposed to be. I'm really looking for, every year when I make my first trip on Lake Columbia, I go right to Davis Bar. Okay? That's just the way I've been for 30 years. We just go right to Davis Bar, comfort zone, I guess, dragging the herring. And years ago, we started messing around with those colors, and I think you nailed it right there. It all depends on if you got a good bait, if it's in front of the fish, it really doesn't matter in the end. But maybe a little bit more eyeball in those deeper, darker colors to have that chartreuse. Last question on that, though. Do you ever add scent to your brines of any kind? Do you, like an anise or a garlic? Is there any time that you might do that?
I've always been an anise fan.
Okay.
And I suspect that there's a time or a day here and there where maybe the fish don't want anise, but I'm an anise guy, and I always throw a few drops of anise in my standard brine.
Oh, okay.
And it can be, I could step it up and add some more anise, or I could make a brine one day with chartreuse dye that doesn't have any anise in it at all.
Gotcha.
I'm fortunate enough to still have a little bit of old ultrabite.
Oh my God, my nose started to burn just hearing that.
Yeah, and then I sometimes I'll put 2-3 drops of that in there too.
Okay, let's not start that again.
Yeah, we shouldn't probably.
Oh,
because it's been out of production for years. Yeah.
Forever. For a number of reasons, but we won't dive into that one. But it was one of those things for a period of time that was, you better have it, because you could smell it from one boat to the next, no matter what the wind was. It was horrible. All right, we got one more segment left in the show. I'm going to make you stay with me. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to give you an idea what we got going on for tomorrow. And if you are interested in the North of Falcon season setting program, you're going to want to see tomorrow's show. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.